The internet has been buzzing for weeks, but it finally hit a fever pitch when 24-year-old Ella Bleu Travolta, normally quiet, always graceful, dropped a single game-changing sentence. "I love my dad, but there's a part of his story nobody, outside the family, has ever heard." In one breath, she confirmed every rumor hounding John Travolta since the late 70s and set Hollywood racing for answers. How did the disco king become a magnet for tragedy, scandal, and whispered secrets? And why is his own daughter breaking ranks now? Keep watching. By the end, you'll see the Travolta legacy in a way the tabloids never dared print. John Joseph Travolta entered the world on a chilly February morning in 1954, the youngest of 6 in a bustling Italo-Irish household tucked inside Englewood, New Jersey. His father, Sam, sold tires by day and replayed semi-pro football glory stories by night. His mother, Helen, shifted between Broadway auditions and high school English classes, peppering dinner talk with stage slang the kids copied for fun. Those kitchen table playlets were John's first acting lessons and the launchpad for a stubborn dream. "I'm going to dance on Broadway." By 17, he'd heard enough pep talks. He wanted spotlights, not geometry proofs. So he did the unthinkable, dropped out of Dwight Morrow High, hopped a bus to Manhattan, and begged his way into an off-Broadway ensemble. Hours became auditions. Auditions became the touring company of Grease, and suddenly the kid nobody believed in was crooning Beauty School Dropout to sold-out crowds. Friends back home tried to talk sense. College first, then stage. John ignored them. He slept on couches, ate pizza crusts, and hit every open call he could find. The risk paid off in 1975 when he booked back-to-back parts, the telekinetic thriller Carrie and sitcom Welcome Back, Kotter. The shy dropout was now Vinnie Barbarino, blue eyes, bad boy grin, teen idol posters on every dorm wall. Yet success, like the disco beats he'd soon make famous, was about to speed up and then crash at dizzying tempo. From 1977 to 1978, Travolta lit the screen on fire. Literally in Saturday Night Fever, metaphorically in Grease. Fever earned him an Oscar nod at 24. Grease hauled in a staggering $400 million worldwide. Red carpets multiplied. Magazine covers fought for his side profile. He was, briefly, the biggest star on earth. Then came the 80s. Opportunity. Knocked, but Travolta kept shutting the door on all the wrong projects. He passed on An Officer and a Gentleman, Splash, American Gigolo, roles that catapulted other actors to new heights. The films he did choose, Blowout, Two of a Kind, the ill-timed Staying Alive sequel, flopped or fizzled. Critics who once praised his swagger now typed words like washed up and box office kryptonite. By 1988, the offers slowed to a drip. Casting directors phoned his agent with supporting roles, maybe voiceovers, anything but leading man status. It was humiliating. And yet, precisely when Hollywood wrote its final Travolta obituary, he roared back. Look Who's Talking, 1989. Turned a modest talking baby comedy into a $300 million smash, reminding everyone why audiences loved him. 5 years later, Quentin Tarantino cast him as Vincent Vega in Pulp Fiction. A needle-drop resurrection that scored another Oscar nomination and re-cemented Travolta as an icon who simply refused to stay down. November 9th, 1985, Washington, D.C. The White House state dinner honoring Prince Charles and Princess Diana was already stuff legends are made of. Mid-meal, First Lady Nancy Reagan leaned to her British guest and whispered, "Would you like to dance?" Diana nodded, but only if her partner could be the charming fellow from Saturday Night Fever. Moments later, John Travolta, clad in classic tux, extended a polite hand. Cameras clicked. Flashbulbs stuttered. For nearly 5 minutes, the pair twirled across polished marble, her sapphire velvet gown fanning out like a midnight wave, his famous footwork smoother than ever. The press loved it. Papers coined the Travolta dress. Auction houses later fetched six-figure sums for the gown. And gossip columnists predicted a clandestine affair. None existed. John's popularity soared again, but the memory carried a hidden sting. Proof that adoration can be triggered, then terminated by a single photo op. When the headlines cooled, he was still the man studios called risky, still the son who phoned home to check on his mother's health, still the boyfriend fearing a heartbreak that would make him question fate itself. In 1976, Travolta met actress Diana Hyland on the set of The Boy in the Plastic Bubble. She played his mother. Off camera, she became his soulmate, 18 years his senior but emotionally synced. He dreamed of marrying her. Less than a year later, breast cancer ended her life. John stayed at her bedside, whispering promises he'd never keep. 2 years on, the disease struck again, this time his mother, Helen. She battled quietly to spare her son more pain. He sang to her every evening until, 8 months after diagnosis, she slipped away. Hyland, Helen, and later wife Kelly Preston would all exit via the same brutal foe. By 2020, Travolta had buried 3 women he loved to breast cancer. If losing partners and parents hurt, nothing compared to January 2nd, 2009. The Travolta family vacationed in the Bahamas when 16-year-old Jet, long plagued by seizures tied to Kawasaki disease, collapsed in a bathroom, struck his head, and never awoke. John performed CPR until medics arrived, but his son was gone. Grief had no private corner. Within days, strangers demanded interviews. Conspiracy bloggers claimed negligence, and 2 Bahamian officials allegedly tried to extort $25 million in exchange for suppressing a fake refusal of medical care document. The courtroom drama dragged for months, ending in mistrial after leaked audio poisoned the jury pool. John withdrew the charges, stating his family couldn't survive reliving that day again. In 2012, 2 anonymous massage therapists filed separate multi-million-dollar suits alleging misconduct. Both cases collapsed. One plaintiff dropped out. Timelines shredded alibis for the other. But click farms had their fodder. Speculation about Travolta's sexuality, whispered since the 90s, flared brighter. Lawyers shouted, fabrication. Yet the internet loves a question mark. Through every blow, he leaned on Scientology, crediting its counseling regimen for keeping him afloat. Still, outsiders wondered if the church's doctrines complicated medical choices for Jet or Kelly. The scrutiny grew so fierce that by late 2023, insiders said John was considering distance from the organization, and that rumor would soon intertwine with Ella's bombshell. Travolta's relationship with Scientology traces to actress Joan Prather performing a touch assist when he had the flu on a 70s film set. Grateful for the kindness, he devoured Dianetics, rose through OT levels, and publicly thanked the church for helping him survive Jet's passing. Yet April 2025 gossip columns spotted subtle cracks. John skipped the Celebrity Center's annual Nar Gala, skipped the LA New Year's event, and was photographed dining with non-Scientologist producers after midnight. Activities unremarkable to most, but radar pings to longtime watchers. Anonymous ex-members claimed he'd scaled back donations. Church spokespeople dismissed exit talk as clickbait. Even so, tension simmered, exactly when Ella chose to speak. Until last year, Ella Bleu maintained near invisibility, occasional red carpet smile, rare Instagram post. Then in April 2024, she sat for a low-key podcast aimed at second-generation Hollywood kids. Mid-conversation, the host asked, "Was your childhood magical or messy?" Ella paused, eyes bright but unflinching. "Both. I grew up watching my dad transform pain into performance, but some stories he'll never tell. They belong to the family, or maybe they belong to the world once he's ready." Bloggers sliced the quote, pasted click-friendly captions like, "Ella confirms John's dark secret," and the viral cycle spun. She clarified on TikTok days later. No scandals, just private grief the tabloids could never frame, right? Still, curiosity skyrocketed. Her follow-up single, Colors of Love, dropped without label backing yet charted on indie lists, its lyrics hinting at ghosts in borrowed suits dancing through sterile halls. Fans decoded every stanza for references to Jet, Kelly, Scientology auditing rooms. Interviewers pushed for clarity. Ella deflected with grace. She respects her dad's silence, but also his desire to set the record straight when the time feels healing, not hurtful. That line, When the Time Feels Healing sparked a new question. Was John preparing? A final confession? John Travolta hit the Big 7 Neo on February 18, 2024, posting a humble selfie, slice of carrot cake, and a caption thanking fans for sticking around through every beat. Instagram exploded. Old co-stars shared behind-the-scenes photos. Tarantino called him eternally cool. Meanwhile, the man himself was on set in Alabama shooting Cash Out, an indie he describes as die-hard in a failing bank. Critics predicted VOD obscurity. Audiences proved them wrong when the trailer racked 18 million YouTube views in a week. Rumors swirl about a Pulp Fiction legacy series. Tarantino says no, studios say maybe. A long-awaited Travolta memoir, Agent says talks are real. And a deluxe anniversary re-release of Grease featuring unseen rehearsals John saved on dusty VHS tapes. Every new headline stokes fresh debate. Will the memoir confirm or dismantle decades of rumors? Scientology departure, sexuality whispers, extortion scars. Ella's hint placed a ticking clock on that curiosity. From Englewood's cramped living room to White House dance floors, from Saturday night disco lights to courtroom spotlights, John Travolta's life reads like a screenplay no studio would dare greenlight. Too much tragedy to seem believable, too many comebacks to stay predictable. Yet one chapter remains sealed, and it belongs to the daughter who finally spoke up. Ella says healing must guide disclosure. John hints he's almost ready. The church he once championed grows quiet about him. Hollywood sharpened its pencils, and we, the audience, wait in the dark, pulse quickening for the curtain pull line that could rewrite everything. So tell me, viewer, when Travolta reveals the truth Ella teased, will it redeem a legend or fracture the myth forever? Drop your prediction in the comments, smash that subscribe button for part 2, and remember, every icon's glow casts a shadow. We've only just started exploring his. Under the warm glow of a Malibu sunset, Ella Bleu Travolta raises her glass and thanks the friends gathered for her father's 71st. She laughs, then, almost as an afterthought, says, "There's a side of Dad the world has never met." Phones light up, tabloids pounce, and suddenly a single remark spins into a cyclone of speculation. Was it a slip, a tease, or the prelude to a truth bomb that could rewrite Hollywood folklore? No one outside the Travolta circle seems to know, but everybody wants in on the secret. His mother, Helen, an Irish-American drama teacher who never stopped singing show tunes while folding laundry, filled the house with Rodgers and Hammerstein, while his Sicilian-American dad haggled over retreads. In the family tire shop, the shy boy in the corner listened, learned every pitch, and fell hopelessly in love with make-believe. When cafeteria bullies mocked his falsetto, he practiced louder. By 17, he'd traded textbooks for tap shoes, hopped a Greyhound to Manhattan, and gambled everything on the lights of Broadway. It was reckless, exhilarating, and exactly the kind of first leap that draws destiny closer. TV's Welcome Back Cotter turned him into America's favorite swaggering goofball. But Saturday Night Fever crowned him disco royalty. 35 million moviegoers copied Tony Manero's finger point, and a 24-year-old Travolta found himself nominated for an Oscar he could barely pronounce. 2 months later, Grease detonated worldwide, grossing more than Star Wars in some territories, and stamping Danny Zuko's grin onto lunchboxes from Tokyo to Toledo. Overnight, the kid nobody, invited to prom, became every teenager's Saturday fantasy. One underperforming thriller, Blowout, 2 critically savaged romances, and a disastrous sequel to Saturday Night Fever left execs muttering overexposed. He turned down American Gigolo, Splash, even Chicago. Each no dug the hole deeper. By the late 80s, the once unstoppable comet looked like cold space rock. Friends whispered he was finished, until life threw him an unlikely parachute shaped like a talking baby. 1989's Look Who's Talking raked in $297 million, reintroducing the world to that watt-and-a-half smile. Tarantino sealed the comeback with Pulp Fiction in '94, and Travolta waltzed back onto the Oscar stage wearing the grin of a man who knows Lazarus by first name. The love of his young life, actress Diana Hyland, lost her cancer battle before they could share the house he'd already bought. 8 months later, the same disease took his mother. He threw himself into work, but grief stowed away in every suitcase. In 1991, solace arrived in the form of Hawaii-born firecracker Kelly Preston. They eloped in Paris, danced through press, junkets, and tried to outlaugh their headline tragedies. Yet fate's scythe returned. Their firstborn Jet suffered a seizure disorder tied to Kawasaki disease, and, at 16, succumbed after falling and hitting his head during a family holiday. Travolta performed CPR until medics arrived, but even Hollywood heroes can't bargain with mortality. Publicly, he thanked fans. Privately, he told friends he considered checking out of existence altogether. Scientology counselors, he later said, stayed up with me for 2 years straight. The sanctuary would not last forever. Scientology had been Travolta's spiritual anchor since 1975, but fresh footprints suggest he's stepping off the bridge. In early 2024, paparazzi shots placed him at a Vegas poker table with music executive Randall Everett, an outspoken critic of the church's rules, while longtime friend Tom Cruise hosted an LA gala the actor pointedly skipped. Radar Online and New Idea both ran headlines asking if John had finally quit the faith that once shielded him from despair. Radar Online New Idea. Neither Travolta nor the church commented, amplifying the echo chamber. Is the most famous OT7 about to hit the eject button? When cameras caught Sex and the City veteran Kristen Davis sharing espresso with Travolta between takes on the 2024 heist thriller Cash Out, friends told gossip columns the pair were flirty like prom dates. Yahoo! Entertainment dubbed them Hollywood's hottest new romance in March 2025, while Australian Weekly Woman's Day quoted an insider claiming the widower was finally ready to feel butterflies again. Yahoo! Now to love for a man who once tangoed with Princess Diana under White House chandeliers. The prospect of love after so much loss felt both natural and narratively irresistible. Her 2024 debut EP, Colors of Love, featured the single Little Bird, a tender tribute to her late mother. In interviews with Today and People, the 25-year-old confessed that singing about grief helped her transform the ache into art. People.com X, formerly Twitter. She praised her dad as my biggest fan, but also hinted at breaking cycles. Sometimes the only way to honor a legacy is to flip it on its head. Internet sleuths seized on the line, theorizing that her family secret might involve a detour from Scientology, a new memoir, or perhaps a revelation about the lawsuit-shadowed years nobody in the clan likes to revisit. The 2009 Bahamian extortion saga read like Pulp Fiction. A paramedic, a politician, and a purported confession document demanding $25 million. The 2012 dual masseur suits alleging misconduct collapsed under timeline inconsistencies, but not before. Tabloids spelled his surname in 72-point font. Each time, attorney Marty Singer blasted the claims as absurd, and each time the public's appetite for scandal fattened. Through it all, Travolta stuck to the same choreography: deny, settle, nowhere dance onward. But the rumors grew legs of their own. Travolta has wrapped Cash Out, a high-octane bank siege caper slated for summer streaming release, IMDb YouTube, and is midway through Nick Vallelonga's romantic dramedy, That's Amore. Opposite Katherine Heigl and Christopher Walken, IMDb Studio. Chatter suggests distributors smell a late-career Tom Hanks lane for the former disco king. Heartwarm comedies with a dose of dad wisdom. Offset, he pilots his own Boeing 707, homeschools son Benjamin, and sets aside Tuesday nights to rehearse Ella's band in the garage. Friends say he's never missed a downbeat. Maybe Ella will reveal it in a documentary. Maybe Kristen Davis already knows. Maybe it's as prosaic as a retirement timeline or as explosive as archived letters that tilt the Scientology narrative on its head. Whatever the answer, two truths remain. John Travolta has survived the kind of emotional earthquakes that split lesser spirits, and audiences can't resist watching him find new footing on the cracked ground. Each tragedy feeds the myth. Each comeback rewrites it. He was the boy who left school to chase a song, the man who danced with a princess, the husband who whispered, "I'll see you again," to a wife fading under hospital fluorescence. He is the father who claps loudest at a daughter's small club gig, and perhaps the seeker finally ready to steer his own beliefs. Whether the next chapter drops a bombshell or a love story, one thing is certain: the world will lean in. Ears wide, because John Travolta's life has always played like a movie, and the third act is only now beginning. Because when Ella finally decides the world is ready, that long-teased revelation will land like a spotlight cue, and the man who once taught us all to strut down a Brooklyn sidewalk might just teach us a quieter, deeper step: how to outdance the rumors and stay alive for the encore.